All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the main show, the SHIPIT Nation, Mayo Media Network, YouTube station collaboration. Hope everyone had a great holidays, probably still living it up. I heard some people say in the chat early on they're feeling it from these last couple days, so I appreciate and understand where you're coming from there. It's going to be a fun one today. We're going to break it down, as always, everything for this Week 12 slate. We've got some giveaways. We've got $100 for members, $100 extra at the end if we get to 500 likes. We've got our normal 2 new member giveaways, so throw in the chat, why you? Why should you get the free membership today? We're going to show it all off. We'll give a preview of our stack rankings over on the site, go game by game. As always, talk through all the angles, ownership, roster construction, all the ways to break it down. Fun slate today, a lot of big tournaments and contests out there on DraftKings and FanDuel. I got my guys with me as always, Hoop and Title. Hoop, I'll bring you in first, man. What's going on?
Feeling nice and comfortable this morning in this brand new SHIPIT Nation hoodie.
You got it. Of course. Nice, I asked you and I didn't even notice it. I've been sitting here. I thought it was the t-shirt. The Nike logo.
It kind of blends in a little bit. Maybe I'll give you a side angle so you can see. You got the hood action here. We got the Nike on the sleeve, SHIPIT Nation. We also have ones with the Sin logo on the front, and these things are the comfy ones. This is the good stuff. You can't buy cheap hoodies. That's one thing.
How do they fit?
So I'd say, I typically wear large, for most stuff. And I might have to hop into extra large just because, it might be a little bit smaller. If it goes through the wash. Yeah, it's not too bad. I'll give you guys like a full setup here. It's right down to the waist.
You don't need no XL, buddy. That's fine. We're the large. Come on. How was your holiday, man? What's going on here? We got a big slate ahead, but it's a fun one. We actually have good quarterbacks on this slate, so I think it should be pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good slate. Looking forward to it. Feel pretty good about it. Based on our content that we already have up at shipitnation.com. I think you and I are pretty aligned, which doesn't happen a ton if you watch these shows. We tend to go different paths, but today looks like we might be on the same path, which I'm excited about because I want to get both of us in the winner circle, and then maybe Title can come along with us if he agrees with some of the takes today. So looking forward to breaking this down. It's one of the, I'd say, the better slates. I'm pretty excited to see some of these games here today.
Are you playing the 555 milli on DraftKings?
Trying to figure that out. I'm doing 150 on both sites, and then I'm either playing the big stuff on FanDuel or playing the big stuff on DK. And
do FanDuel and be nice. Share. Let me take the draft. I didn't get in the big 22-22 over there.
Yeah, that's the one I've been hitting. I've been pretty locked in on that one. I had 2 in the top 5 a couple weeks ago. Last week had a team that had a chance. So I'm liking that one over there. So I'm probably going to be focused over on FanDuel a little bit more today.
Right on. Title, I'll bring you in, man. How's your holiday so far? And what's going on, man? How you doing on this fine Sunday? Excited to talk some football with you.
Yeah, it was a great holiday. You don't have to worry about me in 0555. I'll be in the $5 single entry. You take DK, Hoop take FanDuel, and I'll be hopefully taking that single entry down. But yeah, best day of the week is DJAS said, and shout out to you taking down that Friday the Black Friday showdown game. 19 people, something, 28,000. Always grinding out there. So shout out you. Best day of the week. You are darn right about that. Free money Sunday. Excited to talk some football.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We'll get into it here in a second. Before we do, want to let you guys know we did extend the sale because we forgot about Cyber Monday. We're new to it, right? We sometimes forget about that. So we'd said we were going to end the code, but it is going to be your last chance. So at lock tomorrow for Monday Night Football, this will end. But of course, you want to get involved today, get into that Discord for the up to lock stuff, see all the stuff we've got up on the site, use the projections, sign up for the solver. If you want to get the optimizer as an additional add-on, you can get that too. But if you use code Turkey20, you get all access to everything that we offer on the site. It's all listed there. All the sports that we have available gets you in for $49 for your first month. That's less than $2 a day, almost $1.50 a day. So it's a really incredible deal. And then also we've got our guy, Nick Cat, who's going to be giving away a monthly membership as well. So 3 monthly memberships to give away, $100 cash to a member, and then maybe another extra 100 if we get to 500 likes. We just crossed 100. So let's get that rolling. Hoop, I'm going to come back to you. Give me your grand scheme overview, man. We got 10 games. We got big dog quarterbacks. For once, 2 of them playing in the same game, Allen and Hurts. We got Mahomes. We got a bunch of options on this slate that we can go to. And then there's a couple games that I think people just really like. Jacksonville, Houston, Tampa Bay, Indy. So talk me through this, man. We got a fun slate ahead. What's your first thoughts, your grand scheme overview here?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what you said. There's a lot of appealing spots, more so than the previous weeks. Like the last, it seems like 2-3 weeks, like these main slates haven't been all that great, whether it's bye weeks or some of these better fantasy teams in the primetime games. But today, we have a lot of solid options. So what I hope that leads to, which I'm pretty confident it will, is spread out ownership, which we see all the time. Like people spread out their ownership at the quarterback position. I think we kind of see that today. I don't think there's maybe a couple spots. There's one spot at running back, which we touched on in the cash show. We touched on in our content. It's going to be, Jonathan Taylor is going to be very, very popular, and he'll be the highest owned guy on the slate. Outside of that, though, I think a lot of stuff gets spread out today, which is good because it's easy to get overweight on your key pieces, whether you're building, a few teams or if you're building 150. So I hope that's what we see today. And again, I think it is the case. There's just a lot of fun, appealing spots that people are going to want to get exposure to.
Yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that Jonathan Taylor one. I know some of our Discord very polarized on that one. How are we playing this guy in this spot with this matchup with all this versus his price, his role, all the other factors? And I know Title will be able to break that down for us after. But before I bring you and get your grand scheme overview there, Title, I want to bring up thanks to Nick Cat. So Nick Cat is the guy giving away, and I don't know about his Mac Jones take, but giving away and spreading the love like many do in our community. Love to see that. So Nick Cat, I'm going to give away your membership. Nick Cat, meet Nick Guthrie. My guy Nick is always in here supporting. He says, maybe I'll win something decent today, and basically said to be able to sign up for the site. Wish me luck. The luck has already happened, my friend. You're shipping it right out of the gates. First membership that we are giving away after crossing 100 likes. We'll think about it. The next one after 200 is going to Nick Guthrie. Email us, info@shipitnation.com. Always showing the love in here. Been telling me I'm going to win the Millie all 12 weeks, I think. So maybe today that will come to fruition as well with that 555. But definitely appreciate you, man. Hit us up, info@shipitnation.com. We'll get you all set up. Shout out to Nick Cat for giving that away. Title, bring you in, man. We're going to talk through game by game in a minute, but your first thoughts on this slate before we dive in.
Yeah, I think you and Hoop covered it a lot. 3 main games, what I'm seeing: the Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts game, Houston, Jacksonville, and then Tampa, Colts. Anything outside of those games, I think pretty contrarian, at least if you're stacking it. JT, mega chalk for sure. We'll get there. It's about how you play him, the certain lineup. I mean, I'll be playing him in plenty. I'll be fading him in some. If you're chalky everywhere, probably don't play him in tournaments. You got low in pieces. If you're playing the Mac Jones stack, probably can't throw in JT and feel pretty safe about that. Pretty good slate. You have spend up QB options. You have a mid-tier QB options, some spend down. So that's nice. In the past couple of weeks, it's felt like all the big dogs at QB were off the slate. So everyone was kind of at the same general roster construction. Not many spend ups. Hoop and I talked on the cash show, only so many. So salary's pretty soft today. Pretty good slate though. 10 gamer as far as weather, only a weather game. Looking at raw stuff that he has as orange is Pittsburgh Cincy. I don't care about that game anyway, so that's easy. And then we got Buffalo Philly at yellow. I don't care about yellow. I'll be playing that game like I would otherwise.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll dive in. We're going to get to the first game in a second, Hoop. But before, just want to show it off quickly. Some of the chat was talking about, hopefully I'll get my win soon, all that. We never know when it's going to happen, but we do get a lot of people winning within our community. And this one was my favorite. Last week, we had our second Millie Maker winner, which was Mark F. He took down the Monday Mega Showdown. He also won another 100K in the 222, all of that. But it was awesome to see because D-Dry, our guy Dalton, who we did the interview with on the YouTube station, our YouTube station at SHIPIT Nation, you can go check that out. It's under videos and see it. A lot of people broke it all down and made some comments there and helped me out on the way to King of the Beach, supporting me there. And you can see that video. The first person in the Discord which is 12:40 a.m. This is my time zone. It says 1:40, but just to show it, got right in there and said, congrats. Like there's a Millie Maker winner congratulating a Millie Maker winner in our Discord. We had a bunch of other stuff. The next night, D-Dry gets competitive, goes back and wins the 100K in the next slate. And then we had Big Daddy Kane ship 18K. A bunch of people, our guy C. Nevs, gave away 333 tickets. Talked about what he was giving away here. It ended up being $999 in tickets. And then our guy DK5 shipped himself a live final seat to Scottsdale, comes back and gives away two $200 tickets we gave away to founding family members, Sir John Daly, aka Jay White 89. Just a huge week overall there. So if you guys want to get in, like I said, last call here, but you can use the code Turkey20, go to shipitnation.com, join the nation. There's a weekly option, but you get no Discord. For just $25 more right now, you can get in on the monthly and be good to go. So Hoop, bring it back to you, man. Let's get into this. First game, Jacksonville, Houston, 48.5 point total, and lots of options here that I think people are looking at within this game. First thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's a spot where a lot of people are going to look to. I mean, the 48.5 is one of the tied for the highest total on the slate. That game, and then Buffalo and Philadelphia both at 48.5. Trevor Lawrence, we've joked on the show all season long, and been right about 90% of the time. Like Trevor Lawrence, you can lock in your 15 and move on. The cap was not there. I mean, we haven't seen many ceiling performances. Then he finally gets the job done last week and just, essentially, goes off 32 fantasy points. You basically needed him. And, this is a situation where I talked about it a little bit, where I might be looking to get ahead of the curve on a guy like Trevor Lawrence. Like he rushed it 5 times last week. That's not a huge number, but it was high leverage rushes in the red zone. He was able to score those 2 touchdowns, and maybe he gets it going here from a fantasy perspective. Their team obviously has a lot to play for. The matchup with Houston is good. I mean, Houston is totally fine getting in these shootouts. Stroud has looked phenomenal this season. Trevor Lawrence is priced a little bit cheaper. He's kind of like in a tier of his own almost today. You have all those guys like 5K and below. You got the Hurts, you got the Josh Allens, you got Patrick Mahomes all way up there. And Trevor Lawrence is kind of just in his own little spot today at $6,400. I think it's very appealing. The nice thing with him is you got a lot of guys that you can pair him with. Like if you want to pair him with ETN, I'm fine with that. Like he's shown a lot of the pass catching upside in this offense. You got Christian Kirk, who could be a bounce back spot for him. It went to Ridley last week. Could easily bounce back to Kirk today. I think both those guys are fine options. Zay Jones coming in at 3,900, officially listed as questionable, but I think it was the same situation last week. He practiced, he played. I imagine that he's going to be in there 3,900. And then you have a cheap tight end and Evan Ingram. So I'm looking at this like, man, if I want to play Lawrence, I got 5 guys that I can pair him up with in what should be a very appealing fantasy game.
Yeah, that's
others,
the one thing.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, I was going to add.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you said about the part where people say, oh, but it's so chalky or it's so popular. Everyone's going to game stack. We get that over and over again, but people forget when you have a game like this with the potential for that and then all the options, it makes it so much better because now it's a true version of it's not who you play, it's how you play them. There's so many ways that you can go here, and then I'll talk some other ways after. Carry on. Yeah,
I mean, a couple of ways that I see immediately is like, I think Christian Kirk gets – again, I think this could be a week where they go back to Kirk. Last week it was Ridley. It could just easily be Kirk this week, but I still think Ridley comes in lower owned. So that's one leverage point. Overstacking this game. We always talk about that. We talked about it in our education course where you and I sat down and went through everything for NFL, our process, the lineup review sort of thing. People avoid the overstack. I was talking to a buddy about it actually yesterday. I had some friends over to watch the Michigan-Ohio State game. We were talking about my lineup that won the million. He's like, man, you really played that many guys from one game? Like, how did that work out? And I explained it to him. Well, when the score of the game is 48-45, you need all those pieces and, kind of talk through that process. So you can do a lot of different things. And I don't think it's going to be overly popular. You look at the pieces that are going to be popular. Kirk is going to get ownership. Ingram's going to get ownership, but I don't think it's to a point where you have to avoid it. On the Texan side, you have a guy like Tank Dell finally sees the big pricing increase up to 6,900. Is it enough? Probably not, because the guy has been an absolute stud. Nico Collins not showing much ownership. Robert Woods, you have the cheap piece. Then you have Dalton Schultz, who I think is going to go a little overlooked at the tight end position, who's a phenomenal play. So you have just, I don't know, like 10, including the quarterbacks, probably like 10 guys you can play in this game. So it plays into what you talked about perfectly, where, it's not who you play, it's how you play. And there's a lot of different things you can do in this game when you're building up these stacks to have a different sort of look, not even to mention the other guys that you're putting in there. I'm talking about just the guys you're playing from this game, a lot of different things you can do. It's a premier game on the slate. Stroud is another one. I don't think he's going to be all that highly on. So if you want to say, I want exposure to this game, but I don't want to play Trevor Lawrence, you can easily spend $1,300 more, which most people don't want to do, and go to Stroud, who's been one of the best fantasy quarterbacks this season. So a ton of different things you can do. A great game to kick off the show.
Yeah, I think the only guy, Zay might still be Q-tag, but looks like he's going to be good to go. Everyone's expecting him to play, so we'll leave it at that. But I just think like Zay, Woods, Schultz, Stroud, you mentioned $1,300 more is significant enough. We're like, there's already ways to get different just within this game. Plus, you still have other slots to fill out within your lineup, so you can definitely do that. Before I go to you, Title, real quick, just want to mention some good Bring the Noise, great members. Shout out to Bring the Noise, Steven Neighbors, awesome dude. Tweezy's always in here supporting. AF Gator Jag, we will definitely get to the Pittman Evans talk later on. I definitely think that is interesting. And then where was it here? Our guy Big Daddy Kane is in here. So shout out to Big Daddy Kane. And Jack, this is just football, my friend. I was at the Fantasy Golf World Championship with my guy Todd as he took down the Millie at that and won the event. So lots of Millie makers in the chat, lots of in the Discord, and then
more
lots
to come
of
too. That's just the start of it too. That's just, I mean, we've only been alive for what was it 6 months? Right around six
just
months.
Over 6 months. We just had the funeral last week. Yeah.
So start doing some math. There's a lot more to come.
Yeah, and there's tons of good members. I mean, Hoops, a Millie Maker winner himself. He's in there. Lots of people in there, but it's not like you can't just wake up every day say I'm going to go win $1 million. That's like if we use the gym analogy, you're 50 pounds overweight. You just don't go to the gym one day and win and lose 50 pounds. It's not how it works. There's work that gets put in. Things can progress faster. You put the work in, you put the time in, it can definitely happen. But there's a lot of great members in there talking about it. And Title, speaking of the Millie Maker winners just in NFL, I mean, this is just what you're getting for NFL. When you sign up, you get everything. But just to note, this stack ranking is one of my favorite tools. I should note real quick, we're testing the ceiling rankings, which I'm most excited about for the NBA tool. This is an incredible tool that I basically used something very similar to this last year with Boomer Stuff, bringing it across to get into those live finals. So that's going to be live on the site soon. But just so people see it here, man, maybe our guy Nick Cat was onto something. Mac Jones is popping up. But, Title, I'll let you talk about this game. Wanted to note Trevor Lawrence, Ingram, and Kirk at the top. So give me your other takes on this game. If you got anything different, I only have a few more pieces to add. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the, we mentioned 3 games pre-show. This is one of them. I think it is one of the most popular. I do think those 3 will be the most popular route to stack it. Evan Ingram at tight end, really only 2 tight ends you should consider in cash. Only really 2 tight ends that are going to get all the ownership in Trey McBride and Evan Ingram. So there's pivots there, and Christian Kirk has a good price tag. Ridley still coming off the monster game. Looks to be going pretty low owned. Dalton Schultz on the other side. Robert Woods. So Noah Brown's out in this game as well. Your hero from a couple weeks ago. He was out last week as well. I mean, it's so concentrated. The Texans side is going really low owned, it looks like. I should say no one's playing CJ Stroud, but not many are playing him for what he's been doing. The other side of the chalky. Then you got 4 options. Dalton Schultz at tight end, who's going to be low owned. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, they're going to get some, of course. And Robert Woods, but I'm good playing any of them. Double stack, and someone said, can you triple stack? Stroud again. They chuck the ball a lot. Good game environment. If they get down with some of these prices, if I do triple stack it, Woods or Schultz would definitely be in there, maybe 2 of them because of their price. But yeah, I like the Texan side. Looks pretty low owned. I like this Jake side too, but yeah, Ingram, Kirk, Trevor Lawrence going to get some ownership. You can go ETN, who I think is also going to get some ownership as well, and that really be the only side on Jacksonville. If that's how the game script goes, he falls in the box twice. You'll bury some chalk there. Again, Calvin Ridley, Screeves is a great play. Zay Jones played last week. When Lawrence has all these guys, Zay, Ridley, Kirk, Ingram, ETN, there's just so many mouths. Someone's almost always open. I think that affects Ridley a lot in a positive way, getting Zay Jones back, more eyes to focus on for other people on the defense. So, yeah, how much do I get to him? I guess I'll throw that back to you, Tambo, because I like this game. I really like the Houston side at their ownership. What's your thoughts on Zay Jones at 3.9, though, with Evan Ingram like 4.2, who will be 5 times the ownership? Yeah,
that's a fine play. I definitely like that one. That's the way I'm getting different within this game. But I also think Robert Woods, too. I know that obviously the options there that they already have in Dell and Collins are amazing. I'm mixing a ton of them in. But if you just happen to land on Woods there, I'm also fine with it. So I think both him and Zay are most interesting. I think paying up for Stroud because it is just that $1,300 sticker shock. And it's also getting close to 8K where it's almost the opposite effect. I always say Best Buy pricing. He's just under 8,000. But when you were used to seeing him well under 7,000, now you're like, shit, that thing got real. I missed the sale. is what people figure. Like going back to the same analogy, it's a Cyber Monday coming up tomorrow. People said, I missed the deal. And now they don't feel as heavy about going back to it. I do want to answer Kevin's question quickly. This is a personal preference, right? Like if you want to embrace it, like Hoop talked about when he won his milli and just leave it all and keep overstacking it and letting those Jags go in there, by all means can go ahead. But the reason I also wanted to answer that question is because I think that's the last piece that I'll add on this game, because you guys covered it great and I added my 2 cents, is that especially on FanDuel, they're really cheap, but you could also just play the Houston D. One of the things we talked about, Nades and I do this review show quite often, the week that Burrow was popping off the page here at number 1, just like we see Trevor Lawrence is, and I think you could do a Tampa Bay D as well over here. I'll just say it. If you're not getting to them or if you're wanting to get away from them in some, I definitely think it's a high leverage spot to be able just to say, okay, I'll do it. I kind of like it more with Tampa because that when we get to that game, I like Rachaad White. Even with the knee locking up and coming, he's fine by the sounds of everything said. Schefter did the work there and got the news out to us. But I think you could do that big time as well. When everyone's on Taylor, you could play White with the Tampa Bay D. Again, in some lineups as ways to get different. So that's kind of the last thing I've got there. Title, if you got anything else to add on this game, go ahead. If not, probably move through this next one pretty quick. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, as people start smashing that like on the way in.
Yeah, this was the one game that had the weather concern as well. Looks to be Roth has it tagged as orange. I mean, man, obviously Burrow's out for the year. Tough blow for the Bengals. Who knows what kind of energy they're going to come out with. Division game, awful weather. Sign me up for absolutely nothing in this game. I mean, Deontay Johnson, Hoops mentioned, getting targets on the cash show on Friday and all that. Really not doing much with the targets. Some of them aren't even catchable. Cross this one off, make it 10-game slate, a 9-game slate.
I don't know. I thought you'd at least have a little interest in Deontay. People have been talking about him.
That's the one I just mentioned. He's been getting targets.
No, I'm sorry. I said that because you said Deontay. I was going to say, what about because of Warren? Because people were bringing up Warren, and he's there with Najee. But Warren is 5,400. He was in the tidbits this week. I guess it's a better question for Hoop because he hates Najee. But I wonder what we're doing here with this spot. If you got nothing else, sorry, Title, I'll let Hoop take it over.
Yeah, it's all you, Hoop.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. I mean, Najee Harris, again, we talk about guys that in the dictionary are next to the word cheeks, and I mean, he might be 1A, but we did get on him the right week, which I mean, we've been running good with these calls. The guys that I've absolutely shit on, and then when we get on them, they've done really well. Not going to be on Najee Harris today. Jalen Warren, definitely the more talented running back, but I mean, it's just tough on the slate. There's a lot of guys right in that price range that are going to get like much more work than him. But yeah, for me, it's just Deontay Johnson at 4,900. I mean, he has the ability to get 10, 11 targets in the right game situation. Now, they're not the best targets because they're coming from Kenny Pickett, but, at 4,900, they don't need to be perfect. So I'm good with Deontay Johnson. Trenton Irwin as a punt wide receiver with Higgins out. I mean, these are not guys that I'm playing a ton of, just guys that I'm going to mention. But my 2 favorites would be Deontay Johnson, Irwin, and then both defenses are in play, and that's it.
Yeah, go collect as a member in the Discord and appreciate them. But somebody talked me into this in the Discord last night, just sitting around, playing around with a couple of lineups. I put literally 2 into the FFWC qualifier and the $20 Millie Maker, where I just put Browning, Chase, and Irwin with a Deontay Johnson on the run back, and then you just fit whatever you want. I don't recommend it, but I have to be honest. Yeah, it's just a waste of money. It's donate. I have to give it. I like to give back, Title. It's donation. Right? Yeah. We have to give back to the community. We talk about it.
Just do it like I told Hoop. Do it in the lower dollar stuff, and don't give it to the rich. Give it to us. I
usually keep it pretty low on that stuff, so I have to make sure. But Freiermuth, I know some people brought him up, especially on FanDuel. I think he's 4,900. Some people mentioned him, but I don't have a ton of love here. I think you could play the Pittsburgh defense as well. The only one that's interesting, and I'm not getting to it personally, but just if anybody could take stuff away, sometimes it works. But here's this: someone just popped it up. No Mixon love with the weather and Browning. Look, he got like 3 red zone targets last week. He still got his 16 carries. He's still got a ton of stuff going on there. And on the Pittsburgh side, while everyone's deciding who's the better back between Warren and Harris, Warren, then the other side is Mixon on his own with a backup quarterback at home. I mean, I know they're underdogs technically, but could they still win the game? It's a division AFC North battle. It always goes that way. So I kind of wonder and see, but I don't know. Like, it's nothing too crazy for me. We can move on. Hoop, I'm going to come to you on this one. It's another low total. Same thing, 36.5. Carolina, Tennessee. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, Carolina is obviously one of the worst teams in football, and the Titans have played like shit, obviously, this season. Disappointing season for them, but it's one of the better spots that the Titans have been in lately. They've had some more difficult matchups. Derrick Henry has been a huge disappointment, obviously, this season, kind of taking the step back. But, I mean, this isn't the same situation with Derrick Henry, because in the past, like, all right, it's getting close to December. Now it's time to jam Derrick Henry. But I do like the spot for him today at home as a favorite. Really hasn't had many of these situations recently. He's only 6,400. He has multiple touchdown upside. They will use him a little bit in the passing game. I'm going to take some chances on Derrick Henry today at what should be pretty low ownership, I'd say. It's not like he's 9K and we need him to go out and get 30. He's 6,400. We'll take 20-something from him today, and I think he can do that in this spot at home against Carolina's bad run defense. So I'm very interested in Derrick Henry today, interested in the Titans defense, and I won't be playing anything on the Panthers side. So it's pretty easy for me, this one. Derrick Henry, Titans defense, I like a lot, and really nothing else.
I should note, too, this would be our fastest 250 likes if we can get there pretty quick here. And if we get there after this game, we'll give away another monthly membership right now after this one. So almost 600 watching. Just take that 2 seconds. Do us a favor. Smash the like. I do want to note something, too, before I go to Title Hoop. That Henry made the tidbits. Remember, you made fun of me about the D-Hember thing, but that was a real saying. It was a real thing. I noted in the tidbits, I think it was Scott Barrett. He's the man from Fantasy Points. Good dude. He said he put the numbers out. It's actually after Thanksgiving when he picks it up.
Let's go, baby.
This is literally your first chance after Thanksgiving to get in on the action. And 6,400, you said it. You mentioned it as well with the Titans D. One thing I like about them, they're just a little bit more expensive than the Chiefs, the Patriots, the Broncos, the Jags. If people are trying to leverage stuff, like there's literally just a little bit more money needed to go up to them. So I definitely like that quite a bit. The other thing is it just makes perfect sense. Like the noted factor of not just when he picks up is after Thanksgiving is the obvious one. When does he pick up and get the carries is when they're winning. They're only 3.5-point favorites. I know it can flip the other way. Bryce Young, anything can happen. But I'm just saying it would actually make more sense to put him with the D than most other running back DST combinations where we know that has become something that's not really needed. It's just a commonality from a past thing that a lot of people do. You don't have to do it, but the reason it works is that, and in this case, it would make sense that if this, then that. Well, if Henry's having a big day, it's usually when they're winning, which then means they're pinned back and the D has themselves a day as well. So I really do like that combination. And then Title, your thoughts on that, as well as Adam Thielen was mentioned as well. He was brought up in the tidbits also. He's got some stuff going his way for this matchup where he's settled down lately, but it's been the sort of defensive schemes that he's been up against. Now he gets back to a little bit more neutral, so maybe he could have a day if they're going to be down as well.
Yeah, I just can't click on anybody on the Panthers. Bryce Young, it's been so tilting. They just don't throw the ball down the field. It's benefited Thielen because he has five-yard curl routes in the slot, but nobody on the Panthers, honestly, like this. I love your Henry and Titans D pairing. I think you guys might be a little like Henry's range of outcomes just feels so wide nowadays, especially with Spears so much more involved, and they do like him. But man, at home, favorites, like it makes total sense. And I love the Titans D already. Like I like Titans D more than Henry, but I like the pairing for sure. They're my two favorite in this game. DeAndre Hopkins would be the only other one. Levis has been chucking the ball. He's shown that there is upside there. Hopkins ownership in check. Not many are going there. So I'll take some shots on D-Hop for the upside. I like the Henry Titans D pairing. And I really like Titans D because, yeah, if they get ahead and Bryce Young gets a drop back almost every snap, it's going to be bad news bears for him. So I like it.
Yeah, this is the thing, man. So I think he's just toast if he doesn't get it today. That's what everyone says about everyone. We've said it a lot about guys lately. Ramondre, he kind of bounced back a little. We've been saying it about Pollard. Not like crazy, but he definitely, did his thing recently a little bit more. So, and what's our guy Dwayne saying? I didn't even read it. Sometimes I just throw them up on the screen because I love Dwayne. Great dude. It should be a Henry smash bot because Carolina looks to be close to Cancun mode, but usually we want some back and forth. Carolina looks broke. I definitely agree with the correlation. Nice.
Yeah, but yeah.
Go ahead.
Just, I don't know, just a couple comments. It's like, it's not like this spot last year, even if Derrick Henry was struggling, he'd be like $8,300 or something on the slate, So you got to adjust your expectations a little bit. We're now talking about a $6,400 running back. It's much different situation. So we don't need him again to go out and get 35 fantasy points today. Like 25 will do the tricks. You got to kind of adjust things here on the fly. And in terms of like if he doesn't get it here, it could be toast either way. But this is this is one of the better spots he's had in a long ass time. Like this is one of the better spots in a long time at home as a favorite. Historically, he's been better after Thanksgiving, like you said. I think it all adds up. Not going to be like an all-in type player or anything, but for me personally, I want some exposure to this spot in my 150.
Yeah, and one note, like I don't have a crazy one for you guys this week. Maybe later something will come to mind, but like Henry and Pittman, for example, which we're going to get to that game 2 games from now. Henry and Pittman would be like Jonathan Taylor and Nico Collins, which is probably going to be higher owned and makes a lot of sense on paper. We're going to get to it, but I'm just saying like, that's a prime example where it's almost the same price where you could just make the flip. It's not same teams, so it's not quite equal, but it's just to show it off. Like if you think somehow Henry can get to that number, you don't like Jonathan Taylor, you can move off some of that and also move off that spot and then just take it through Pittman instead of through Taylor. And I think some people are even playing both. We'll get to that game in a second, but definitely think it's an option. Title, anything else you want to add there? If not, you can take us to New Orleans and Atlanta. Desmond Ridder popping up here again, man. Desmond and Drake London, no Marshawn Lattimore. There's an opportunity here, isn't there? I don't know. I'll let you take it away. New Orleans and Atlanta, 41.5 point total. What do you got?
I'm not clicking anybody on these Falcons team. We go through these games. I like some teams, some games, but there's plenty of cross-offs on a gross slate like this. I don't need to play Bijan, have Arthur Smith bone me there. Don't need to worry about is it Pitts, Jonnu, London. No. Olave, Shaheed, I like both of them. Think they're both ownership would be a check. Shaheed, man, the routes have been up there. We know his big playability. Only takes one from him. I like that price tag. And again, I think that ownership at 4.3K, some others in that range. Ingram's right there. Like if you play him in util, Ingram will be much higher owned. McBride's right there. And Olave, he's ran really bad with touchdown variance so far this year. He's had multiple chances. He still hasn't had that game, but this game's getting overlooked. In the dome, this game's a little interesting for me. Just really Saints pass catchers. I don't want to go Derek Carr even with them. I don't think it's the craziest if you're going 150 and you want to Carr, Olave, Shaheed, but I think there's enough other quarterbacks I like on this slate that I don't need to mess with Carr. So just Olave and Shaheed. Yeah,
I think Hoop, that's the thing. My guy Ham was talking me into some Carr stacks over on FanDuel. They're pretty rough, to be honest. Like I put them together. I do like some pieces in some way, shape, or form. Like I can get to Shaheed for sure. No Michael Thomas now. Like again, he's still priced right. I think solid enough. We're good. Then for the other side, you've got what's his name? Drake London. We just talked about his matchup. Again, hard click, but he's there. Bijan, I did hear some coach speak just to say that it was going to be like finally that the wheels are going to be off. We're good to go here. We can run with them. Sure. I don't know if that's what
I said. Sure, the coach speak. Yeah,
I know.
We've seen this a million times.
I think I like him more on FanDuel. Like maybe when they do get to the goal line, they just decide to finally jam him a couple times because who cares? But yeah, I'm not in love with this spot anyway. People are talking about A.T. Perry. He's 3,200 on DraftKings, but Hoop, I'll let you take this one on. Anything else you want to mention within this game that you like?
No, I mean, I don't like it. I'm not playing any Falcons. Like I don't care. Like if the Falcons beat me on a slate, you close the laptop and move on to the next one. Like I just don't. I'm not buying any of the talk with Bijan Robinson. Like just none of that. I have zero interest on the Saints side. I don't really like anything. I mean, I know Michael Thomas is out. Like I like Shaheed. Like I'll play Shaheed. But outside of him, like, I don't know. Like, I agree. Someone put in the comment just more Taysom Hill with MT out. And I kind of agree. Like, they're just like the Taysom Hill thing it's tough to gauge. And it's tough to quantify when you go through and try to pick fantasy options because you just don't know what the hell they're going to do with them. And it's a unique situation. Not many teams do this sort of thing. Just takes away so much. I get the Olave thing, but I don't think I'll play him today either. So it'll just be Shaheed because he's $4,300 and he should get some additional targets. And he has the big play upside. He's by far my favorite play in this game.
Tambo, yeah, I know Hoop's answer from what he just said, but you prefer Derrick Henry to Olave. It's $200 difference. But if you both have the flex, you have the 200. Just say you don't have Titans D or anything. It's a one-off. What would you go?
Big time, Henry.
Cool.
Yeah. You the same move?
I know Hoops is saying.
I don't think I'm playing.
Yeah, I'm on Henry big time for sure. Yeah,
pretty easy when I am playing one guy and I'm not playing the other guy. The 1v1 is pretty simple answer.
I don't know. I like Olave. I like it though.
If you like Olave though, I think you should like Carr. Because then it makes sense. Like then you could put Shaheed or you could put something else in there. Like you can make it work.
I just like even if he gets you 20, which could be Olave and Shaheed getting a touchdown with over 100 yards, Carr still gets 20. I like enough quarterbacks on this slate that I think someone's putting 30, 35. Like
I think
Lawrence game, the
Hurts
game, and there's enough value on this slate. I wish if pricing was tighter, I think I'd be more willing to go Carr, but I agree with you too. Carr's
5,800. I see what you're saying there too. We're not going to get anything out of him otherwise. Mobile, you got Taysom Hill issues, all that. So I actually agree with you after running it back and thinking through it there. That's why these shows are fun. Get to go through it and think about it from that perspective. Again, FanDuel, more of a touchdown dependent site. I think that's why I like our guy Ham's call a little bit more there. Hoop, did you have a winner? We got we're pushing almost 300 likes now, and we went past the game. So we need another monthly winner. And then when we get to 350, we'll do our member $100 giveaway. Almost 650 watching now. So again, if you just joined us while we look for this, smash the like, subscribe to the Mayo Media Network, and then you can go over to the SHIPIT Nation YouTube station. We had the link up there earlier. It's just youtube.com/@SHIPITNation. We're going to hit 5,000 members there soon, subscribers. It's free to subscribe. You get all of our access. We only do free shows. And we're going to give away an annual membership over on that channel once we get there. Get to that there. Hoop, you got a winner here?
Yeah, I got to find it. It was a comment early on that I liked. I'm going to find it. Yeah, go to title, and then I'll
let you find it. Let's move on because I actually like this next one. I think a lot of people want to know what to do in this game, and we could start with the Jonathan Taylor conversation. I know I said I want to hear you breaking it down because I know big-time play today on – when I see ownership like that for large field tournaments, have to imagine in cash this guy's getting slammed in. So to talk maybe through it for some people just wondering about like – the matchup sucks and all this stuff, but from the other side of it, like how you see it, because I think it's no secret the guy's going to be played a lot today. So talk to us about Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much who's around him in this slate. It's a good game environment, and Zach Moss has pretty much been irrelevant the past couple of weeks. We're back to JT's old role, and JT's old role, getting the ball 25 times on the field, can catch passes out of the backfield, has him, he's favored to score a touchdown, has him just projecting so well in this game, which, again, pretty high total, home favorites, in a dome, not much competition. It is a pretty tough matchup on paper. Bucks have been more pass funnel. But, again, JT can catch passes. He's explosive. How I'm going about JT ownership, like I was looking, how can I leverage him? Who else do I like on Indy? Pittman, but he's going to have some ownership as well. Then I go, would I rather eat JT or Pittman ownership? And I definitely would rather eat the JT ownership. I do like Josh Downs, though. I think he is very interesting. I think you can play Downs and JT together. If you play Pittman and JT together, I think I'm full onslaughting this game. But again, Pittman, JT, two of the higher guys on the slate. Again, who's in the range? I'm looking. Pull up running back on DraftKings. 6.9K is JT. Who's around him? ETN for 200 more, I think is very much in play and is fine. Saquon for 400 more. Kamara, way up there at 8.4K. No thanks. JT's projected even better. Don't really like Swift much. There's Jacobs, Kyron Williams, Bijan. So pretty much just comes down to the range at running back on a slate we don't have too many studs to spend for. He fits so many builds and projects so much better. So I'm jamming JT in. Outside of that in this game, again, and how do you play JT? So again, if you're running Trevor Lawrence, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, like I don't want JT in that lineup in tournaments because you're already eating one of the most popular stacks on the slate. If you're going Desmond Ridder, Drake London, Jonnu Smith, our fourth-ranked stack right there, you can feel totally fine playing JT because you're already low-owned around it. Are you playing the $20 Millie Maker with almost 200,000 people in it? Are you playing a 5-5-5 with 200 people in it? Like, be different. Like, you have to think about stuff like that there. JT and the Millie Maker, might be 40% Tambo?
35, I'm guessing, yeah, somewhere 35 plus.
High stakes, if there's 200-man field, 555, 80%, something like that. So just kind of know. It gets inflated so much in those smaller field stuff. So just know kind of what contest. I'm playing JT, home favorites. Not much competition. I like Downs price tag at 4,800. He's explosive. I prefer the Bucs side, and I kind of like JT too. Sign me up for Baker as a cheap quarterback. He showed a lot of upside. They're in a dome. They're dogs, so they should be dropping back a lot. And he has Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I don't like Godwin as much. I love Mike Evans at 7,400. And you mentioned Rachaad White at 6,100. I like it that this news, he was questionable, his knee locked, all that. I'm not worried about that one bit. He was going to be higher owned earlier before that news than he is. Great game environment, can catch passes, can go JT on the other side. That's my favorite approach. Going Evans, Rachaad White, JT, something like that. My 3 favorite plays. And you don't even have to go Baker in that.
Yeah, Brock could be the host. I was just about to say that. So very good breakdown of it all. I like, especially the part I will say, and he caught there was the contest selection. Like I have the lineups that you said you're not playing, but you're talking large field. I can get away with it in a small field, and I can still get different in the other spots and do other stuff differently within the lineup. Like who's playing Mike Evans in the flex, for example, with the JT, like little things like that, where it's just not going to be the same. And just that one move can be the difference of 30 to 40 points across the 2v2 version of that. So just to note that, I'll bring it up. I think Hoop, before we go to the winner, I'll mention my pieces quick because he gave me some ideas to run with. One is the, two ways to leverage it, or 3 ways, I guess. First of all, he like he said, playing Taylor with Pittman, stack in Minshew now. Run it with Minshew and Cade Otton on the other side. Now you've got a Minshew with the running back that not many people do with Pittman, and instead of it being Edwin or White, Evans, Godwin, something like that, do the other side. Play both running backs in this game is another way. Play White, play Taylor. Play Taylor as the only Indy guy, but make it a Baker onslaught stack is another way. And then the last one I said earlier, my favorite would be to play White with the Tampa Bay defense and just move off it and say, you know what, I'm going to get different. I can go wherever else I want now because I'm just going to fully leverage this spot. And then in the passing game, it's pretty easy. I think somebody else brought it up here earlier, but like Downs with Pittman, with Minshew, and then you can run it back with White or Cade Otton or Evans, or mix of them and full game stack it. So Hoop, I'll let you take it away here. Give us the winner. We just crossed 300 likes. We might get to the 500 today, but we got the winner. Who is it?
William Berniche. I think that's how you pronounce the name. But yeah, running into some family health issues, work issues, wants to be a member, plans on joining early next year. We'll get you started with a free membership here for a month. So appreciate your support. Been with us for a while. It's always important. So yeah, hopefully enjoy your membership and you're able to stay with us long term.
Yeah, hit us up, William. All you got to do is screenshot your YouTube account and send it over to info@shipitnation.com. We'll be able to get you in there before the slate starts today so you can get in on the action. Hope everything's going well, man. We appreciate you supporting. Let's get you set up on that free month. Let's see what else here. So nobody talk. Our guy Jerry Matt, appreciate you always out here supporting us. Title mentioned a little bit about him, but just haven't seen much about him. And the other one
JT got paid too, and he had the first couple weeks off. Like
that was all that was. I think realistically is obviously had to ease him back in for the first little bit. We kind of talked about that, and then there was one other thing. Oh, our guy Rob. Shout out to Rob, great dude. Got to meet him down at King of the Beach there last week. He said, "How many Colts are too many?" I think Title. I'll let you take this one quick before I go to Hoop, just because I think what people are seeing is obviously Taylor and Pittman, but I've also seen variations. I know Hurts is popular, but I've seen people with Minshew versions of something in cash just to make other things work. So could you get the 3 or is 2 enough?
Yeah, my lean, definitely you can play 2. 3, earlier in the week, I thought I was maybe more Minshew. I don't know if I have to punt there at quarterback now. There's Hurts, there's Lawrence, Baker's still cheaper, or Baker's still down there too. I do think Josh Downs is in play too, but I'm not sure I'd want Pittman, JT, and Downs. So probably 2 max, but you can definitely get to 2.
I like that call. Hoop, your take on this game. We covered it a bunch of ways, but I want to get your thoughts on it too, because it seems like the other very popular spot, maybe after the Jacksonville-Houston game, and a lot of these pieces are getting slid in to the Jacksonville-Houston lineups as well for good reason. Again, these are 2 really good spots for this slate. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you guys did a great job talking about it, and I agree with most of the points that were made. Very similar to Jacksonville-Houston in the sense that a lot of plays on both sides and a lot of different ways to go about doing this, a lot of different ways to stack it, different ways to overstack it. I mean, just a ton of different ways to go. Jonathan Taylor's going to be popular. Yes, we know that. There's no doubt about it. The workload, you see the trend. It's all work going in his direction. He's still 6,900 with his workload. The spot here, he could easily be like an $8,000 running back. He's only 6,900. That's why he's going to be so popular. But there are a lot of guys on the slate that could beat him, definitely. Like you look at the ETN situation, I think he's a great, pivot off of Jonathan Taylor. When you guys brought that up, I really like that call. Saquon Barkley, we haven't talked about that game yet. It's somewhat gross, but man, if the Giants have their way, like Saquon Barkley has the massive upside. So you don't have to play Jonathan Taylor. Yes, he's a great play. There's no doubt about it. I will have a bunch of them, no doubt about it. But there's other running backs you can play in this game. Pittman, Downs, I think, are both very strong options. Gardner Minshew at quarterback, love him for 5,100. And then on the Bucs side, it's same situation we talked about when I talked about Trevor Lawrence. I got like 5 guys that I can pair him with, and that's nice for fantasy purposes. When you're stacking, you can pair him with Rachaad White. Like that's the easy path. I like the point that Title made about Rachaad White popping up on the injury report was going to be very, very popular. That has to definitely do a number on his ownership. It has to bring it down. There's no way around it. He's added late to the injury report. Sounds like he's totally fine. Probably just some caution with that whole Burrow situation that happened with the injury reporting. So fine, sticking with White. Really like him in this spot, like a lot. Mike Evans, Godwin should be like very, very low owned. He definitely doesn't have the upside that Evans has. I prefer Evans over Godwin, but I want some Godwin exposure, if I'm playing Baker, which I am. This Trey Palmer guy at 3,100, he's getting targets. It's not like he's just some random cheap dude. You look at the recent games here, 6 targets, 4, 4, 6. Like he's involved in this offense, and he's 3,100, so I want some of him. And then you got Cade Otton at 3.2K. We know where the ownership's going at tight end. There's a few guys that are getting all the ownership. Fine going with a guy like Cade Otton. So a lot of different ways to play this game. 8, 9 fantasy options. This is another premier game on the slate.
If you guys had a pick, which one would you pick? That or the Jacksonville game?
This one, I think that I'm on both as well. I think this one is probably lower. Yeah, I don't know though, because the pieces in Jacksonville, Houston aren't going to be all that highly owned. Yeah, I prefer the other game, but I mean, I think it's a great option though too.
For sure. I would, because I trust CJ and Trevor Lawrence a little more than Baker Minshew. That's the only reason I lean that side. But
Baker Minshew,
especially with the pricing of some of the guys. Go ahead, Tambo. What do you prefer?
I know you now. You were saying like Baker or Minshew, but it sounded like you called him Baker Minshew.
Any sort of play on word. You can't get any sort of play on words past this guy. You got to proceed.
I wasn't even trying. I was just trying.
I'm saying. He's picking up on it.
Yeah. Either way, one thing I will say, because I was just going to give out a show core. We're almost at 350 likes. I feel good today. It's that season. They were calling me Tambo Claus from all the giveaways, and SHIPIT Nation, we've been doing a ton as is. Hoop Claus is a thing too. He gives away tons of money. Someone said it's not Christmas yet. Look at all these giveaways. Our members are giving away a ton. It's absolutely incredible. But this is the note with our stack rankings. Nades and I do this on the review show every week and try and how could we have got there? What does this look like? And so this is why when you ask that question, I actually love the Jacksonville-Houston game, and I'm heavy on it, especially in higher stakes stuff. And again, just working around it because like you said, I feel more comfortable starting the build there, and that's good. But look at this. This is really actually interesting because not only do our stack rankings love this Colts-Bucks game, it's been pretty high on this throughout the season, these rankings working out. But I think you said a good call there. Like, okay, our guy Dwayne, NYG fan, was saying it. Let's go Gardner Minshew, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, and then let's get the leverage in there. Put in Travis Etienne Jr. instead of because you're not on the Colts passing stack, so it makes perfect sense. And then let's put in Rachaad White. You still have over 5,000 left per spot for a wide receiver, a tight end. You're able to get cheap at defense to boost your role even further, and you get a flex spot. So that's the show core. Never do this, but I'm doing it today because I feel good about it, just talking through it on here with this stuff. And if you like this stuff that we do for free, you should get over to ShipItNation.com and sign up with the code Turkey20. $49 gets you in for all the sports NFL, NBA, PGA is coming back, MMA, NHL's ongoing every day, crushing it. So do it. But here it is. Minshew, Pittman, Downs, with Rashad White on the other side instead of JT. And then for the $200 more than JT, you put in ETN. And since we're not playing this Trevor Lawrence passing stack, it's just a way to get different. You could find a bunch of ways to get different from there. So I'm going to be in on that. Anything else to add, boys? If not, Hoop, I'll let you take us on to this next game here. We got New England and New York, the Giants. Giants at home, underdogs, but 34-point total. So give me your thoughts on this one. Anybody? Again, it's not about the points, I know, but there's only a couple places I could really see finding fantasy points here.
Yeah, just a few options in this game. Defenses, like 34 total. You can always say, I'll take some of the defense. I think both are in play. Outside of the defenses, Ramondre Stevenson has a big-time workload. Like, I think 20 carries last week, active in the passing game as well. He's only 5,800. They're favored. They haven't been favored many times this season. But 5, 6, 4, 6, 6 are his most recent targets. Like, that's substantial. He's under 6K. I think he's a fine option. If they get a lead, which they usually could here against the Giants, he's going to get a lot of work. So in on him. Demario Douglas at 4.4. I'll have some of him. On the Giants side, I kind of touched on a little bit, but I will have Saquon Barkley today. And, our guy was a couple weeks ago. Ham talked about it, and we kind of laughed him off. And I know, Title, you were on Barkley as well. I mean, yeah, it's just got in any sort of competitive game, it's just got a crazy amount of workload, and the touchdown upside is still there. This game could definitely go either way. I don't think many people are going to play him. We got the Jonathan Taylor play at 6,900, so low owned. Saquon Barkley on a slate where we have a lot of salary too. Like we've touched on it a couple times, but there's not a ton of spends on this slate. You can easily get overweight on Saquon Barkley you don't even have to play a ton of them to get overweight. So I am interested there. None of the pass catchers though for the Giants. Clear plays, like I said, it's Stevenson, Douglas, and Saquon for me here in this one, and defenses.
The merch side of the site's looking good too, because Gary said, forget the picks. One thing Hoop convinced me on today, I'm ordering that hoodie, straight fire. And I don't know, you guys can go look this up. Again, we just talk about this all the time. Price disruption is one of our main focuses, make sure everything is affordable for anybody out there. And the same on these. You buy these Nike hoodies in bulk. We wanted to get the better quality. They're like 70% cotton, 30% poly, whatever. So it's not going to be the ones that shrink on you, comfortable, everything. The cost on them is like $51 or something, or $53. Full disclosure, like you don't make much. We have to sell it and ship it. We have to be able to run a promo on it, things like that. But for right now, it's pre-order. They just hit. So Hoop is going to be shipping by Wednesday this week. If you want to get a hoodie, get your order in today. $69. You want a hat, you can throw it on there. Get your order in today. There's shirts, there's combos, the Just Ship It shirt. That's what I'm wearing right now. It's got everything on there. I love this one too. So check it out. Title, I'll go back to you, man.
Just to hit on that real quick. Yeah, the goal is to get everything out by Wednesday. And the shipping's pretty quick too. The way we ship it, I have a nice setup for getting this stuff shipped at a quick rate. Should have it by Friday. So if you order today, if all goes as planned, by Friday it should be at your door, assuming you don't live somewhere crazy like Canada or California or something.
I live in Canada. It actually still comes very quickly to me. Hoop sends it out the same way. It's like an extra, I say 3 or 4 days, being honest, but like it's not that much difference. So cool.
So, all right, it should have it by Friday. I guess long story short, if you order today, should have it by Friday.
And Hoop, Title breaks this game down quick because I'm sure it's going to move along. But if you can do me a favor, we're going to hit the 350 likes. I know we've got almost 700 watching now. So everybody smash the like if you're just joining. We're giving away $100 to a member. So let us know, Hoop, when we come back to you for that next game. But Title, I'll let you take it away. For me, I'll note it quickly. I think, to be honest, Ramondre, Douglas might be it. And then obviously the defense, both defenses, actually. I will say both because I'll talk about that after. But any other takes from you on this or anything else you like within this game?
Ramondre with Pat, Steve, and Douglas, like you said, mainly mine. Someone mentioned Juju at mid-price. Yeah, I mean, if you like cardio, he'll be out there a lot. Play a lot of lineups. I don't think it's the craziest thing. He's mid-price. Hyatt on the other side is also mid-price. So if you're looking for some absolute stone 3K guys that will be on the field, you do have 2 in this game. Don't expect much, especially on the slate where salary's not really tight. Yeah, I don't know. Douglas is the number 1 for Mac Jones, 4,400. So I'm good with that. I'm good with Stevenson, can catch passes. I like Pat Steve. Saquon, the thing is, I know I'll have a ton of JT. I like ETN more than Saquon. I just like those offenses way more. So I'm good with it. He's getting 25 plus touches. He'll be pretty contrarian. Price is fine. It is pretty tough, though, when they have, 14 total or something. They applied for 2 touchdowns. Mainly Stevenson defense and Douglas.
Yeah, the Douglas thing is interesting because did we get confirmation? I know it sounded like last night. It sounded like they're still trying to act like they're wavering on their starting quarterback, but everyone expects it to be Mac Jones, right? So it's just that's what we're going with. I like
they waived Greer, which was weird. They waived their
rookie. I think it's time just to go back to Mac Jones and deal with it. It's surprised the Jets are saying after that travesty the other night that they're not going to do that. They're going to stick with Boyle, but it's funny. Look, they're not great. But sometimes you just have to go back to what you had and see what happens. And I do like Jones better for Douglas. I like Douglas. Again, I don't think Ramondre is going to get extremely popular, but he's definitely going to be up there. Like, the matchup is solid. It makes sense. Everything's good about it. People just saw what Brian Robinson did last week to these Giants, even in the L. So I don't know what you could see here, but I definitely think that Demario Douglas is the guy that I could get to at his price tag. It's not too much. Also, if you look, I don't look at this often, title, but props, his receiving prop is like 50 something. I was like, what?
They like him. Mac loves him.
So yeah, I definitely think that's somewhat interesting. My guy Ham sold me on the Giants D as a way to leverage things up over on FanDuel more. I like it there, but just to note, I thought that was an interesting one as well. Hoop, did you find a winner for the $100?
Yep. Went into our Discord and I just said, hey, if you're a founding family member and you haven't won something recently, because we do a ton of giveaways. I mean, you guys know that. We do a ton of giveaways. We want to make sure everyone's taken care of. And, we want to make sure if you've been with us from the beginning, you get an opportunity to win some. So our guy, Sean ST, been with us from the beginning. And he's going to win. And other people that posted in there, we'll come up with a list and make sure throughout the holidays that everyone kind of gets something. So that's our goal, to make sure, our loyal members who have been with us from the beginning are taken care of. So appreciate all the support there. So
I will say that's why you got to get in the Discord. Hoop literally just said 2 minutes ago, tag the NFL chat. That's why you got to turn on notifications. One of the awesome things we have here, if you don't play MMA, you don't need to get news for MMA. You don't click that button and you don't have to get blown up every time. So if you play NFL, he tagged you. He said, I need a winner. If you're a founding family and haven't won anything recently, post something lol. Sean was the first one to respond and he gets it. So that's the cool things you're missing out on if you're not in Discord.
And I will say the next winner has got to be our guy Parker, because I said post something and Parker was the second response. And he literally posted the word something. So that is unique. And I got him on this list here for next time.
Who's that for? Parker?
Yeah.
Okay. We need 146 likes by the end of the show. We've got 4 games to go. Some big ones that we'll be talking through. We've got time. Do our guy Parker a solid.
Yes.
Hit the like for Parker. If we get to 500 likes, we'll give away to Parker. But I'll give away a bonus $50 just for somebody else.
I'll make that 52 for a bonus. We got 100 there.
There we go.
All right. Well, it's got to be 150. I can't sit this one out, so count me in.
You gave enough. I got a hot man. You're good.
Who's going to one-up us? Next thing you know, the last guy's getting a $500 bonus.
No.
Yeah.
As we end up down this road. But no, we appreciate the support, everybody. Thank you, guys. If you're not a member, too, I should note this quickly. It's going to be updated on the site. We're always transparent, so I'll show you guys. We'll just go over here and share it. Our guys behind the scenes are working on it. But look, we say it all the time. We know it's not everybody can sign up. $49 isn't cheap for everybody. Still, it's the cheapest in the industry that we can find for all the value that you get. But we'll say it like we know not everybody can get in there. That's why we try and do these giveaways. We do all our shows for free, all of that. But it'll pop up this week. If you want to go to the site and just sign up with your email, it's free to sign up. Do that, because starting this week, I think we'll have it launched for Wednesday. We're actually going to clip our showdown segment. I'm going to keep it moving here and just show you guys. Hoop and I recorded this NFL course. There's going to be a lot of showdown slates. There's already a ton left over, but then when you get to the playoffs and the Christmas Day slates and all that, we broke down about 40 minutes of the 4-hour course is just on showdown. NFL showdown, the lowdown on showdown, correlation, stacking, game script, general strategy and concepts, roster construction, how to handle the kickers and defenses, what to do with the punt plays, and then the differences on FanDuel. We're going to give that away for free to everybody who signs up for the email list. Now, members, you already get it. It's not really a big deal. You're already going to be on our email list, all of that. But just to note, if you're not a member and you still want to get on more free action, we are going to retroactively send out the special link for that course so you guys can get a little bit better at Showdown and see what our education side of things is all about. Hoopster, go back to you, man. We got Cleveland, Denver as the fourth last game, and we're pushing 400 likes. So it looks like people are going to get the job done for our guy Parker. Talk to me about this one, Hoop. Cleveland, Denver. Heard a little bit of Javonte Williams talk. Ford on the opposite side. The defense is here, but don't think too much else otherwise. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, it's one of these gross runs sitting at a 37 total. Javonte Williams, I'd be fine getting a little bit of him, but they do use Perine and McLaughlin, quite a bit. So that is somewhat scary. But yeah, if I'm picking anyone on the Broncos side, it would be Javonte Williams. I will say, actually, I don't even know how much of this guy I have, but I'm going to make sure I get a little. Is Cortland Sutton. Dude is very talented, and in the red zone, Russell Wilson is just locked in on him. He gets opportunities all the time. So maybe I add some Sutton into the mix. But yeah, just be him and Javonte Williams. And then I'll play some Njoku at 4,100, and that's it in this game. It's not a fun one.
Yeah, I just was laughing off the top. That is, sorry, Ross gave away the secret. The secret video, quote unquote, is just Hoop saying, just play the effing defenses and captain and throwing his laptop off a wall. And that's how you win in the year 2023 heading into 2024, right? So that's the secret strategy video. We didn't know that before the season, though, when we recorded it. So we just made that special now. All right, keep going here. Title, your thoughts on this one? Anything extra to add?
Njoku, man. Give me some Njoku. Everyone going McBride. Everyone going Ingram. Get a little discount. Going to be a fraction of the ownership. Look at the targets. 15, 9, 6, 8, 9. Double digits his last 5 games. You can sign me up for that. Outside of him, I don't know. Javonte, I guess, is fine. There's definitely other running backs I like. Broncos D, Browns D. I think Broncos D is very, very much in play against Dorian Thompson-Robinson. But Njoku, by far, my favorite play in this game. Bad position. Everyone's going to 2 guys, a little more expensive. Give me those targets.
Yeah, and somebody asked again, too, just to make sure, because we did say it was going to end. We ended up leaving it on. We're going to leave it till lock on Monday Night Football, but the code is Turkey20. You just go in and use it. It's for your first month. So I went into the monthly, $69 a month. You just scroll down to have a coupon, type it in, all good to go, punch it through. First month for $49, then reverts back, but it gives you a chance to check it out. So definitely something I would recommend. If you don't want to hear from others first, we have a whole testimonials page. You can go see the breakdown. Our guy Marty, who crushes it in college football. I had a sweat yesterday, by the way, Marty. So thank you to you. I should have played this other running back for ASU, whatever it was, over this other. I don't even know what it is. That's the benefit of our stuff. We don't even officially offer it. I'm literally just using a sheet that Marty posts in there and putting it together with what makes sense from a DFS perspective. And it was incredible. Shout out to our guy, Jim Steele. Ran won the 50K. This was during baseball season. We got to update some of these, but some of these guys are still crushing. Keith Craps, our guy, he's the defending NBA Live Final champion over on FanDuel. He got another, I think it was on Black Friday, or it was on Thanksgiving. He got his 3rd Live Final for NFL on FanDuel. And then the next day followed it up on Friday night and got his first NBA FanDuel Live Final to get a chance to defend his belt, even though
it wasn't live.
It's online only. I was just going to say,
NBA
even though
online final, not live final.
You still got to defend,
That's
though.
bogus.
Yeah, for the NBA online final, I should say. But yeah, lots of good stuff going on here. I like the Njoku call, though. Definitely interested in playing some of him. I think I saw the stat was 7 and 15 for the targets that he's got with DTR. So they're just peppering him. Sometimes he does just catch the ball and fall on it, but it can add up really quickly, man. It can rack up fast. And I don't know, he'll be somewhat popular in that range, but he just can't be as popular as some of the other guys like Ingram and McBride, who we'll get to. Segue up. The good host job here, segueing up. Let's talk about this one, Title. I'm going to stick with you here. It is the Rams, Arizona, 3rd last game to talk about here. It's getting into the afternoon slate now, besides the first one that we didn't really care about too much. And we're about to cross 400 likes, over 700 watching, almost 750 now. Let's talk about this one, Title. Rams, Cardinals. What do you got?
Well, yeah, we'll start with McBride because him and Ingram by far the most popular tight ends. It's what we were talking about Njoku. And I agree, he's gonna get some ownership, like you said, Tam. Like it's impossible for him to get too many because McBride and Ingram gonna get a bunch. The thing is, like, two tight ends are very viable on a slate like this, and I'm saying that because I look at Trey McBride, not quite, of course, like a Kelsey we talked about on Friday. Kelsey's listed tight end, but he's a receiver at the end of the day. I mean, McBride is a lot more than just a tight end, though. He is their number 2. I'll even say 1 maybe at this point, ahead of Hollywood Brown. His connection with Kyler is amazing. He's athletic, great after the catch. Like, I love everything about Trey McBride and this price tag. So, again, chalk on good eating. We mentioned some other pivots at tight end. Kate Otten, if you're going in that Buccaneers game, the Njokus. But I will definitely be having a good amount of Trey McBride. Hollywood Brown, finally, I think this is the 1 week I won't play him. Probably will absolutely go off, but I just can't keep clicking that name. Does sound like he will play. Did not practice all week, though. Rondale Moore, I don't know. He got that 1 target. Looks like he was going to absolutely nuke. He got nothing after that. I think it's really just Trey McBride and James Conner on the Cardinals side. I do like some James Conner. Gets a bunch of the work. Solid price tag. Can catch some passes out of the backfield. I'm good with him. My favorite on the Rams side, Cooper Kupp. Again, he was banged up a little bit. McVay said, I think, 2 days ago that he was going to play, though. Limited participant in practice on Thursday. Kupp playing, and he's 8,000 with a healthy now Rams team. Kyron Williams is back in the mix. Still got Puka. Still got Stafford. I'll buy in on this Rams healthy team in a dome, and that price tag at Kupp. I mean, man, that's a $9,500 player for the most part. So Kupp by far my favorite. Kyron Williams is interesting. I just don't like – it feels like he has to be the guy because Darrell Henderson was, and then they waived him, and then they picked him back up. Like, they're just messing with Henderson's mind. Very weird stuff there. But with Kyron Williams back, I think he's a very interesting, pretty low-owned running back play, 6,600. But I'm not convinced his role, he's going to step back into the old role he had. So, end of the day, love McBride, love Cooper Kupp. I think James Conner and Kyron Williams is interesting. And I guess Greg Dortch at 3,300 too. Cheap punt receiver is fine down there too.
Super Hua
there it
says
is.
Dortch. Got to get in on the action there. That might be a spot. Like you said, for just him being on the field lately, you've seen a lot more action. He almost made the tidbits this week. James Conner with Cooper Kupp, like a nice little mini stack. Kupp does not need Stafford to get there. Like, he can just rack him up. And now Nakua's priced almost up to him, and you just got to hope that it bounces back. I'm Dortch over Rondale, so I like that call. Someone brought it up there and asked. I definitely like that opposite. I like the James Conner situation. I didn't even know this account existed out there. It's called like Coach Speak Index or something. And it's like been rating and gauging on what the coach speak has been like from certain coaches. And apparently the Rams like always do what they say and what they said. And they showed it as well, by the way, because they dropped Darrell Henderson. They did re-sign him to the practice squad, which is fine. That's pretty normal stuff, but they did not activate him to the roster. So they're very clearly okay with Williams. And then they said that they'll stick with them. Yeah, it's right there. So, man, at his price,
I like
somewhat
that.
interesting, and maybe a way to cut into the ownership of like a McBride, who, like you said, is obviously in a good spot, or like a Williams Dortch to keep it cheaper and just say like maybe one of them can come through and do it for you. I mean, it's not that crazy. This game still almost has a 46-point total. The quarterbacks here, like if Kyler gets this thing rolling and Stafford sticks with him, we could see almost what was the game the other day to kick it off? Like Jordan Love has a good game. If Kyler Murray has a good game, the other side of like a Goff Stafford, who people always compare and be like similar type dudes, you could start getting that back and forth firing off here. And this could end up being one of the sneakier games on the slate. Look, people have plays within it, but then it's like, how many people are going to get to the stacks within it? And also I should note too, Hoop, I'll come to you on this one. Marquise Brown might be the only piece that we are still waiting on that's like maybe truly questionable, because he's 5,200. I'm expecting him to play. It seems like it, but it also at the same time, there's others that aren't as confident. So what's your thoughts on this LA Rams Arizona Cardinals game?
Yeah, a lot of the same thoughts, like the Kieran Williams things. I'm interested in playing him, coming back, early on in the season, he was the main guy. They basically dropped Darrell Henderson, so it's going to be his backfield. Kupp, interesting play. I mean, I don't think many people are going to go to Cooper Kupp. We have all the salary in the world. Fine getting some exposure to him. On the Cardinals side, yeah, I mean, we were pretty high on them last week. They got the job done. But my favorite part of the Cardinals offense is the guy that you guys kind of mentioned there at the end, Greg Dortch. I mean, Kyler was locked in on Dortch at the end of that game. If they're trailing at all, it could be a similar scenario where Dortch just gets absolutely peppered. So I'm in on Dortch regardless. I will play Rondale Moore as well. I mean, I know it was all one play last week and everyone were bitching about it. It's fine, but it caught a 50-yard touchdown or whatever it was, 45. That's all you got to do when you're super cheap like Rondale Moore was. McBride, fine option at 47. I don't love the Kyler price tag today. We played him last week when he was like 58. Now he's at 69. He's just got to do a little bit more. So not super interested in him. Connor, I don't necessarily love. He'll probably be in the player pool, but it'll be an underweight stance on him. But Dortch, McBride on the Cardinals side are my favorites. Williams and Cooper Kupp on the Rams side.
Do you find yourself in this? I know you said it via the Kyler point, but like how often do you see yourself getting secondary stacks in this? Because I think obviously the McBride plays popping up a bunch. That's kind of it though. Like, I mean, people are mentioning now, I know sharper players around the industry that do other content, things like that are mentioning Williams. So he is starting to get a little boost, but I don't see how he can get the super boost with all the other guys that are around him. So I would definitely keep that in mind. But like, how much are you seeing secondary stacks pop up naturally versus now we're talking through them and they seem to really make sense to at least secondary stack here?
Yeah, not popping up much. I don't think. I mean, Trey McBride's going to get ownership. The rest of these pieces really aren't. I mean, 10% or below on basically everything else. So in order to get a secondary stack, you're probably just going to have to force it in essentially, or when you're hand building. So I don't think it's going to be a popular route if you just are naturally running the optimize or anything like that.
Okay. Title, did you have any thoughts on that quick before we move on to this second last game, a big boy?
Yeah, I don't think too many, and I love Cooper Kupp. And the more we talk, Kyren Williams, like 13.5 rushing attempts is the interesting prop too. I saw Brock talk about that. So I know I'll be playing a lot of McBride. So I should definitely be trying to jam in some of these skinnies. If I went to a quarterback, it would be Kyler with the rushing upside, but I do prefer other quarterbacks to him. So yeah, I want to get overweight on those skinnies, McBride, Cooper Kupp, or Williams. And Dortch too. There's plenty of ways. I like it, Tambo.
Yeah, I should mention too, I guess I'll end my last point because I was with everything you guys said. I kind of added stuff throughout, but I'm definitely in on the Kyler side, not as much, not on the Stafford side, but on the Kyler stuff. Kyler, Dortch, McBride, run it back with a Kieran or a Kupp. I can do that today. You are paying up a little bit, but I look at it like the sale price. Hoop, we talked about it earlier where Stroud is, maybe the price went back up. I'll wait for the next sale, but could Kyler go up even further? I actually think he could. So it's like maybe you're still getting the deal before the full price comes back. You're still getting some sort of savings with him. So I actually don't hate it. And at least it's a way to make your McBride stuff differently, make your lineups differently than you would if you weren't using Kyler in them. So I think that's another option that you can go to. Hoop, I'll come to you on this one. Big boy game here. Jalen Hurts versus Josh Allen. I think we're going to talk about this one for a minute. So I'll let people keep getting those likes in there. I threw it up on the screen. We're giving away $150 extra once we get this thing rolling here. So Hoop, talk to us here. Buffalo, Philly. How do you see this one playing out? And then talk through it from a DFS perspective.
Yeah, kind of, when you look at just the matchups and the teams, like the premier game, of the slate in terms of fantasy, like, where do you go? And on the Eagles side, definitely want some Hurts. I think he's top quarterback, raw points. We have the salary to make it all work. I want Hurts. I want A.J. Brown. I think, the squeaky wheel thing, I definitely think he has a solid game here today. Going to continue to play Devonta Smith. I think I played him every single week. His ownership is very low. He can easily get the job done. But in terms of, pairing Hurts with guys, it's really just those two. I mean, I'm not playing any of those tight ends. It was a disaster on the showdown slate. It will probably be a disaster again today. So it's simple. It's Hurts with Brown or Devonta Smith. I think DeAndre Swift is a very fine option, especially if you're not getting a lot of these stacks. If you're going like a Houston, Jacksonville game and you're loading up there, getting exposure to a guy like DeAndre Swift makes a lot of sense. And you just hope that it's the DeAndre Swift game where he gets the 2 touchdowns and, Hurts doesn't do much, A.J. Brown doesn't do much, but all of it goes to Swift. And then you get exposure to this game where there is going to be points. So I like Swift as a standalone play in this game and some of those other game stack situations that I might be looking at today. On the Bills side, I think it comes in much lower own. I do want some Allen to Diggs. Allen to Diggs versus Hurts to A.J. Brown. Hurts to A.J. Brown is going to get a lot more ownership. I want some exposure to Allen, to Diggs. I like Shakir as a cheap option, 3,600. I think he's fine. And then I'm going to keep playing my guy, Kincaid. Better price on FanDuel, but at 53 on DK, definitely like him as well. I mean, he's a red zone target. He's a volume guy. It's everything you would want in a tight end, with paired up with your quarterback. A lot of targets, red zone stuff, a lot of different outs. So it is a good game. On the Eagles side, not as many options, I don't think. It's Hurts to those wide receivers. You can pair Hurts with Swift, I guess, if you want as well. On the Bills side, I think it comes in much lower owned. Allen to Diggs. Kincaid will get some ownership, but I like Shakir as well.
Yeah, I like Shakir. Our guy G Hunter always brings the sharp takes in here, and he comes in today and just kills us. Allen ain't happening. He says sorry. And He did bring another one. He said Smith is the play. I do like Devontae Smith here. I like Swift as well. Smith and Swift, put them both together and play the double S's on that side. I don't hate it. And it is hard to stack Josh Allen. Now, that makes it somewhat interesting. It's not really hard when you add in the Gabe Davis, Shakir, Kincaid stuff. I'm saying when people are looking at, though, it's actually interesting title to me in this game that what's become extremely difficult due to pricing is to get the alphas in, right? You want one of Hurts and Allen, but then to get like a AJ Brown and Diggs lineup, the two guys just screaming for the ball that both need it. Like, man, you could get it back and forth, but then how do you afford it? And we've talked through a lot of these guys. It makes it kind of tough. So I get your thoughts on this game. This is definitely a fun one. It does feel like it should get up there in points, but we've seen it before. Sometimes these two Goliaths collide and it ends up just being a back and forth of a lot of defense, a lot of trying to keep the other guy off the field, all those other things. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. Buffalo's defense is littered with injuries. Eagles' defense has looked awful. I think both these offenses have a field day. And now I agree with what Hoop's saying as far as the Eagles side. Like, I like Hurts, but I'm only playing A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith with them. Like that Calcutta guy, Calcantero, whatever it is. He's not even playing this week. Jake Stoll can't do anything but block. Like, you can't mess with any of these tight ends. I think Swift's fine, but I prefer him in non-Jalen Hurts lineups for the most part, just leveraging off whoever does play Hurts in that Philly offense. I prefer the passing attack, though. Love A.J. Brown. I like Devontae Smith mainly just because he's going to be forgotten a little bit at that price. So I like that side a lot. I think it'll be more popular than Josh Allen on the Bills side. And I love this side. I mean, Eagles back half is awful. Their secondary. Good front seven. I don't have interest in the running back room. They're mixing and matching these guys. I don't need James Cook, Latavius Murray, etc. Give me Josh Allen. Give me Stephon Diggs. Shakir, phenomenal price tag, 3.6K. He's taking over that number 3 slot role. Kincaid there as well with no Dawson Knox. So sign me up for all this game. And I do think we talked about Douglas, Juju came up, Josh Downs, Dortch, Rondale Moore. Talked about enough cheapies. I think 2 tight ends are viable. I think you can go Josh Allen, Diggs, A.J. Brown, and still make a lineup you feel comfortable with. So I love this game. So many injuries on the Buffalo side for sure, and Eagles haven't been good. So sign me up. It should be a fun one.
The last line you said that you feel comfortable with. I definitely made some of these. I do feel comfortable with them because it's guys that I like. I think if other people saw them, they'd be like, what is that? That's a disgrace. Yeah. But it's, again, you need the if this, then that. And our guy G Hunter keeps going. I think this is the interesting part. Like, you see a guy like JT here says this, I can see that. Then some people are throwing it in. This ain't even the Sims. This ain't even the Sims segment. Now we're talking about 15, 12 battles for the kickers. But I think almost, man, just my final take on it is like, I think I'll need it to stay under for the most part. As much as I'm in on those, like I have part of my portfolio related to it going over, but because what G Hunter's saying, like if it can stay low scoring, then my one-offs, like I can just get AJ Brown in to some of these lineups as a way to get a piece. And I usually say like I want Hurts with AJ Brown because if AJ Brown, it's like a 2-touchdown day crushes. All the other stuff needs to go into that and makes it tough, and your lineup gets sort of decreased down. There is opportunity that I've seen, at least in some of my lineups I like, where it's just AJ Brown or just Devontae Smith or just DeAndre Swift. Like I like those types of lineups. I actually have no problem with them. So got to get it going here, guys. Only one more game after this. We're at about 427 likes. The likes settled down. Remember, big bonus giveaway at 500. So now's the time you want to, if you got to pause it, grab granny's phone, grab your son or daughter's iPad, whatever you got to do. This is definitely the time. to go do it. Find extra
just don't
accounts.
take Grammy's phone, not her wheelchair.
Ima's wheelchair. She's fixed up, man. We got her hooked up. We give all kinds of giveaways. We even took care of Granny at the home, so we got her set up on a fresh wheels, fresh set of rims on that puppy. She's dialed in now, so let's do it. Anything else on that game, Hoop, you wanted to add besides the stuff we brought up? If not, you can take us into the Chiefs and the Raiders. This is the last one to talk about here. I think Pacheco and Chiefs D is the big conversation, but other ways to go about it. Kelsey not getting a lot of love on a slate where there's everyone paying down at tight end. Give us your thoughts on this one, Kansas City and the Raiders.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs side's pretty straightforward. It's, Pacheco, Watson, Travis Kelsey, I think all solid plays. Kelsey looking to not get a ton of ownership today, which is interesting because you play Kelsey at tight end and your builds are way different. And I think Title kind of touched on it earlier, but I'm open to double tight ends today. I mean, some of these tight ends are much better plays than the wide receivers in the same price range. So if I'm willing to play 4 wide receivers, which I am, I should be willing to play 2 tight ends, which I am today, just based on the nature of this slate. I think there's multiple cheap options in play, mid-tier options, and then we have the spend in Kelsey. We talked about it on the cash show a little bit. Kelsey's the same as some of these wide receiver ones. So like on the slate specifically, I'm fine with double tight ends. Rice, don't love the price on Rice. The price on Rice. There you go, Tambo. But in on Pacheco, in on Watson, Kelsey, some Mahomes as well, if they just decide to pass it and prove that they can still, score points via the air. I mean, it's just wild that they haven't scored in the second half in like 3 games. I think they kind of make a point today to get this offense rolling. Raiders side, I thought I would be getting more Jacobs, but I'm really not because I don't know. I just like these other running backs a lot more in the price range. So I don't have much on the Raiders side, just Mayer as a cheap tight end at 2,800 pound, my favorite Raiders option. But it's kind of where I'm at in this one.
Yeah, just over 50 likes to go. Where's this one? Our guy Neighbors, man. He had me laughing out loud for real. He said, nah, Granny ain't having that. She ain't letting that phone. She got old woman power. She ain't letting go of that phone. Sorry, you can't get that like button one time. But you got to sell Granny on the community, man. Get her involved. Granny wants to ship it too. So, Title, I'll go to you. One piece of news I forgot to bring up off the top is that everyone was expecting Max Crosby for the Raiders D to be out and take another week. And I believe then they have their bye and everything with that. And so late last night, it was like, nah, even though he hasn't practiced and he's been sick on top of it and everything, is he still wants to play today. Again, won't get this news till later. I'm not sure how much that will swing you. He's probably still banged up and sick or whatever else it might be. But I know that was a lot of the love extra for guys like Pacheco and we want to talk about the Justin Watsons, the Sky Moores, like who's it going to be? Someone said, I think our guy Gary said it might be the 2 triple letter, the CEH and MVSs. MVS dropped that bomb last week. This week he'll catch one, I'm sure. But I don't know. Take it over, Title. What do you got?
No, Scaling's allergic to catching the ball. He ain't catching shit. But as far as this game, Raiders, easy fade. I mean, Chiefs D's looks like a great play. They're going to be popular. I can't touch anybody on this Raiders team. The Chiefs is so interesting because, yes, so Hardman and Tony are out, which is why Justin Watson becomes even a better play after a great last game. They have all these receivers that keep mixing and matching in. Now with those 2 out, at least it's a little more condensed. It's not condensed enough where, I agree, Rashee Rice's price tag and stuff. I don't love him much. Love Justin Watson, though. Like Travis Kelsey, 2 tight ends. He's going to be low owned. He has all the upside in the world. People keep talking about his history against Vegas. He's absolutely crushed them. I don't look at that stuff too much, but 8,200 for wide receiver 1 is going to be pretty low owned. I can sign up for that. Mahomes is the really interesting one because Pacheco is going to be owned. So you can play Mahomes and leverage off chalky Pacheco. And he also falls in between Josh Allen and Hurts, who I think will both be higher owned. It's just people don't want to, they look at the spread. They know the Chiefs can win it ugly. And I agree with all that stuff as well, which is I prefer Allen and Hurts. But then you're going game theory and just knowing I can go Justin Watson, who might have some ownership, plug in Kelsey, plug in Mahomes. We know Mahomes still has all that upside as well. So help me, Tambo. I mean, it just feels like this is such a good Mahomes game theory spot, one of the highest totals. You get that. But I definitely prefer Allen and Jalen Hurts just in a vacuum, not looking at ownership and any of that, mainly with that rushing upside. I feel way better with their ceiling. due to those 2 rushing touchdowns possibly happen than Mahomes. But
yeah,
I'll throw it to you after. I love GC, love Watson, like Pacheco, like Kelsey. I like them all. I should throw in Mahomes there, but that was my thought process out loud.
I forget who returns kicks. Is it Sky Moore or is it Justin Watson?
I want to say it's Sky Moore still, because they had Hardman and Tony mix in, but he's out. I think it's Sky.
I think so too. And it used to be, it was Tony as well. You're right. So just want to see. Just got a Rappaport update, says that Steelers to focus on targeting Pickens and more carries for Jalen Warren. So going back to that one, Mac Jones getting the start today. So it's official on the Mac Jones piece.
But Bailey Zappi's he's Mac Jones will start, but Bailey Zappi's also likely to mix in for work.
That sounds like a great situation.
Likely to be in for the mix, quote unquote.
Likely to be in for the mix. I don't know if I trust that, but either way, I'm not playing the Mac Jones stacks anyway, so I don't care as much of that. Someone did mention too about Richie James might be active for the Chiefs today. I heard that around a little bit. Also, Gary, there I saw that. Some of the Joel, they're playing on your words there. Hoop, the price is nice on Rice. I definitely think that's possible. But the reason I brought it up is because I found some lineups that land on 3K wide receiver, Pacheco, and Chiefs D. So you could try and triple dip it and go Sky Moore over Watson chalk. It's not as likely, but I don't know what if they go off MBS or these other guys and say, you know what, we're going to give Sky Moore a shot here. They are missing Tony and Hardman. I mean, he could have an opportunity, and so that triple dip would be interesting. I think that's one spot. The other thing is, who's the other thing? So, you talk about Mahomes. I'll bring this up. Yeah. Like, again, people come at you after the fact and burn you. Never Mahomes. Like, I tried it one time. It doesn't matter. Someone had the stat. I almost put this in the tidbits. It's like one of the last 12 weeks that he's been needed. Like, you got to have it right. If you're playing Mahomes, play him everywhere today. Put him in everything, and you still might not end up with the right combination of trying to figure out all that shit we just talked about. So I don't care what you do. I'm going to take the other side. I like the Buffalo Philly spot better. It is leverage to Pacheco. So there's something to be said for that. I'm just saying I don't look at it like that. I play DFS all year for many years. I don't go like, but in week 12 in 2023, damn, I got screwed and then hate my life. I'm in for the right amount of money that I can afford to be in for. I can move on to next week. We got plenty more slates. I want to capitalize on this slate. But if I don't, because Mahomes gets me, I did this in golf for years with Jordan Spieth. Everyone, he's back now. Well, 2 years that I didn't play him and he didn't do well, I was doing just fine. So it's like, I don't care about this guy Mahomes. Good for him.
I gotta tell you, that is one of my favorite Tambo rants right there, and it just impacted the slate for me because as you were saying that, you were so passionate and you made really good points that I took Mahomes out of my player pool. No joke. He was in my player pool. I just literally X'd his name. I'm with you today, buddy. No Mahomes.
So we're even more aligned now, is what you're saying.
More aligned, yes.
That's funny, I deleted him last night too. I said I might go back to this guy, and then I remembered all that shit I just said. We're not doing that.
I had him listed on the website in my player pool. I literally just went to the solver and X'd his name out and deleted the row on the player pool at SHIPITNation.com.
Custom updates. And I will say, though, like people think I hate the guy. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. He's incredible, generational for our time right now. I'm saying what he does is amazing. I love watching him. I'm actually a fan. Watched him on the show, The Quarterback on Netflix. Like that was cool to see behind the scenes, but he's building a multi-mansion unit with like literally, I think he's going to be able to host sporting events. He's got everything out there, a full court for basketball, a golf course thing, a football field. He's got everything. I like him. I don't like trying to figure out and put my money on him because, well, he may come through. I just truly don't believe I'm going to find the right combination. And even then people say, then just play him with Kelsey and shut up. Try it. That don't work either because then you're missing other pieces that go with it. So do you. I'm going to do me. That's what it comes down to. And my boy Rob, we stand with Tambo. Try it. Sometimes it works. We'll try it out there. Any other thoughts? We're at about 460 likes. I'll tell you what. Give you one final shot as we go around final thoughts, show off the promo. But I also will tell you what, Parker gets his money no matter what. Shout out to everybody coming through. I like Parker, appreciate him. He's a member. He's getting his $100. If you want the 150, we better start hitting it. Title, I'll go to you first, man. Final thoughts, just putting it all together, wrapping it up on this slate as we break it down here and get out of here.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we thought earlier in the show, 3 main games. I really do like that Philly Josh Allen game. I think there's enough value. We talked through it on the slate at multiple positions. The clear chalk is JT. There's no doubt about that. I think I'll be playing a lot of them, but just does he make sense in that lineup? Do you have enough low-owned pieces? Is it the Millie Maker? Is it a 500 or 200 person field? Things like that to consider. I will be keeping it, I think, a little tighter than usual at quarterbacks. I like the CJ and the Lawrence. I like the Allen and that. I don't need to be playing like we talked about the Derek Carr. I think we made a lot of good points when we were going on certain rants, but I mean, pricing's very soft. There's a lot of big boy quarterbacks with a lot of easy pairings, which just has me, unlike the past couple weeks, eliminating all these bums in the high 4K, low 5K range to jam in other spends. Our salary was tighter on those slates. It's looser now, not as many spend ups. So I'll be looking a lot of those. I'll be having a lot of that Philly game, no doubt about that, with Josh, and hoping that enough cheap pieces make it work.
Yeah, and this Mario knows is Patrick Mahomes showdown tiers only now. I think I love Mahomes slates. Crushed it. I've got a couple of different slates this year. One of the King of the Beach seats I got was from playing that slate. And then last year, one of my biggest hits was with Travis Kelce at captain, that 3 or 4 touchdown game he had whenever it was in another King of the Beach seat then. So it's like that's why I love playing him. Like I said, it's not hate for him. It's just thinking with DFS how you got to do it. And then our guy Dwayne is still here. I appreciate you, man. He says Spieth and his Magic Beans are not happy catching that random stray on a Sunday. Yeah, sorry. I don't think Jordan Spieth is watching, so we're okay. And I wouldn't care if he was, to be honest. But I think it's one of those things you just have to think. And I always try and put it together. That's the benefits of playing all sports and having all those at your fingertips. And the education side of it is you can take and learn different tendencies from other sports and then apply them. That's like I mentioned with our guy Smarty, college football last night. I don't know shit. I don't even know who these guys are. His conviction on the guys are there. The notes are broken down and I know how to build lineups and it's fun. It's Superflex. It's a community run channel that you get for free. That's why being in the Discord is so key. I love it. It's the key getting in there for free, right? Right, Hoop? But you can't get it for free. $49. Your final thoughts on this slate, Hoop, before we get out of here.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I mean, I like this slate a lot. I'm going to call it though today. I think an overstack gets the job done today. I think one of these games just goes off, and I think we see the situation where you need 5-6 pieces from one game to win today. So that's going to be, I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but I think overstacking is the way to go today.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that way too, especially in the higher dollar, smaller field stuff where you can really get away with even like one-off little mistakes and stuff. But with some of those thoughts we gave on leverage and ways to do it, I definitely think it's a good spot to get it done. So didn't quite hit the 500 likes, but that's okay. I think it's our highest likes ever live while on a show. So we appreciate that for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be another big week. You're going to want to get in on the action. We showed it off earlier, but we had it recently, earlier this year. Our guy Dalton goes out, got the job done. He part of other sites as well. Just love to see it. We keep our price affordable so that you can do that. He got it. Won with this one. Our guy Mark this week gets the job done there. Again, no one's promised you can win or are going to win a milli. We're just saying it's amazing to see, and the community is the place to be. So if you want to get in there, go to ShipItNation.com. Use the code Turkey20. It expires tomorrow, but if you get in today, you get all the action today, the showdown stuff for tonight, NBA, full-blown with the projections, everything going on there, NHL, all of that. And then tomorrow, of course, a bunch going on for the Monday Night Football showdown slate. That's going to do it for this one, though, guys. I appreciate all the support. Everyone here in the chat gave away the core I said on the show for a secondary core. Minshew, Pittman, Downs, run it back with Rashad White, and then use ETN. You got double leverage on Taylor by going with the passing, triple really, the passing attack instead of the run game, the running back on the opposite side of him, and the pivot, $200 more in ETN. I really like this one for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. For Title, for Hoop, for myself, ToeTagginTambo. Let's ship it!